Come on, Bella. We got something going on today. We found ourselves a little project. It's going to require a multimeter, and some of you might. I know a lot of you remember Panda. No, we're not going to try to start Panda up, but I bet it would. I bet I could get her to start. Anyway, it's been sitting here. Funny thing is, it's 2 years right now. It was 2 years ago this week that I went up and rescued. I call it a rescue. Brought Panda back down from up in Washington. That's when Aja bought her new rig, Lucky Panda, that, what is it, 28-foot Leprechaun RV, Class C RV, retired Panda. And Panda was pretty tired. The engine was pretty tired. The engine's about done, but I bet I can still get it running. But I'm not going to. Yeah, it was this week. I was on my way. I wasn't quite back here yet. I think 2 years ago to this day, I was still only made it from Washington to Oregon. So I'd been en route and would have been showing up here in a few more days. So that was a great trip. Anyway, back and there's a playlist for any of you that missed out getting the Panda back down here. That's before they added the red. It was just black and white. There's a playlist to that week or so it took to get it down here with the, you know, the limping engine, and it was that was interesting. So what we have here is the project is see if this old generator will run. Yes, it's kind of gotten forgotten about and therefore neglected. And I mean, no shame. Sometimes life happens, and Audra's had her hands full with you know, the new RV at first, and then you know, getting the property and all the projects that have gotten involved. You know, getting the property all fixed up and everything. And Panda's kind of become a somewhat of a well, I shouldn't say a storage shed. It's not. It's actually fixed up nice inside, especially in the back area. It actually doubles as a guest quarters, and it's actually quite cozy in there. Now, I want to say one more thing here about Panda. You know, at the time, it was getting pretty tired and a little rough around the edges, and a lot of people criticized it, but it, you know, but it just kept going around the country. It did what it was supposed to do. And when I drove it down here, you know, with the exception of the engine, it needs the engine rebuilt. I mean, it drove not, you know, it wasn't rattling and shaking and all that. It's still solid. It drives wonderful. I was happy with it. I'm like, I'm impressed. I'd put a fresh engine in it and do a remodel and a paint job, but to me, it was still a solid rig. One comment, somebody recently found one of those videos that I made 2 years ago on that trip, and commented, as other people did at the time. There's a few comments out there being pretty critical of, why would you, you know, it's so ragged and run down. Why would you even think of spending the money to bring it down here? You know, it's not even worth that. And I will tell you that, you know, for the trip costs roughly $1,500 to get down here. And in comments, yeah, it's not even worth that. Why not just take it to the junkyard or something? You know what? Even if it was used for nothing more than a storage shed, 8 by 22, that's how big Panda is, an 8 by 22 storage shed. Go ahead and go price an 8 by 22 storage shed. They're a little more than $1,500. Okay, not to mention the kitchen's fully functional. The stove and oven has refrigeration, plumbing. It's functional. You can go and wash dishes, wash your hands, whatever. So it already has solar on it. So go ahead and buy a 8 by 22 shed, outfit it with those systems, see what you add up, see what you come up with. So it was absolutely worth it, in my view anyway. So this here might be a lost cause, because actually I took the cap off it. Surprisingly, the gas still smells pretty potent. I don't think gas is going to be the issue, even after now this was run a little bit when I first came back, but it's probably been, Panda's been back here 2 years, and this probably hasn't been running in about 1.5 years. And batteries do not like to sit that long. Now I have a new battery charger, and I don't think there's going to be any I think the battery might be a lost cause, so we might have to go through extra measures here. I'm going to put this here, hang on a second. Yeah, this might be a lost cause. Yeah, batteries don't like to sit for long periods. If there's any voltage, I'd be surprised. Oh, it has a whopping, wait a minute. Oh, it has a whopping almost 4 volts. That battery's, that might be beyond charging. It might, I might hook the charger to it and it won't even recognize that it's there. So we might end up having to jump this. Yeah, I'd already taken the cover off of it. And yeah, so it's a little bit dusty in there. Arizona dust. So what I have is this new battery charger, and this charges, I don't know what they call it, normal, cold, wait, that's for 24 volt. I think it auto detects between 12 and 24 volt, or I don't know. I should have read the manual better. I already know that, I do know that you can select between normal, I think that's for like AGMs, or lead acid battery, or lithium, and then it has a repair mode too, that it will detect your the health, your battery's health, and it will go in and cycle through. It does run its own diagnostics on a battery, so it might actually, if it kicks into repair mode, and I think that takes a long time for it to complete that cycle, but I forget what it does. It does something that cleans the plate somehow. I forget what that stuff's called. That gets on them, and then it would go into a charge cycle. It could rejuvenate an old battery, but they have their limits. If that battery's really far gone, it might not. Let me see here. But this does, you know, this battery charger is kind of like, I've always had a battery charger around the garage for various things, you know, cars, trucks, riding lawnmowers, anything with a battery, tractors, yeah. So this is nice. It'll do both 6 volt batteries up to 15 amps. It has the normal mode and the repair mode for 6 amp batteries, and the 12 volt, of course, the same thing, normal and repair, but it has the lithium charging too. And this is more of a trickle or a slow charge. 12 volt for normal batteries, which would be AGM or lead acid, only at 10 amps, but 12 volt one. And then of course it'll do 24 volt systems too. So yeah, it'll do more than just charge a single battery at a time. You can hook it to you know, batteries that are grouped together, like you know, wired in series or parallel. So it'll also do battery banks. So this is a new model out this year. I think it came out in the spring. And yeah, that lithium thing was flashing because I already have it plugged into this portable thing here. But we're gonna see if we can get this hooked up and see if we have any luck with it. Now I know some of you caught that I had it already plugged. I already had this plugged in before I hooked the battery up. Yeah, that's not a good practice. My bad. So yeah, busted. But actually there is no power going to those leads. You know, older battery chargers you had to watch. There's no, they just came on. You could have it set on low charge or high charge, but they came on. A lot of these newer ones, they do have they don't put out charge to those leads until you actually push the on, until you've made your selection, and then push the on button. Then it puts power to them. So this isn't one of those old ones. So I have hooked it up to this. It's a small 12 volt battery. So I'm gonna come up here and find our, and it remembers what I was charging last. Actually, the lithium batteries in my RV. So we're gonna go through, we're gonna cycle back through here through the 24, and I'll come back over here, and that's what we want, is the normal 12 volt at 30 amp. Now this has like 9, if I read the instructions right, this has 9 charging stages. So, and part of that is the self-diagnosis, evaluating the battery, of course, the battery level, the battery health, and like a bulk charge and float charge and trickle charge, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it does all that automatically. Oh, so why did I go back to lithium? I should have pushed. Why did I go back to lithium? It's not a lithium battery. Let me go back to normal and hurry up and push the on button. All right, blinking. Don't know what that means. It's kind of throwing a little bit of a fit here. Yeah, that battery might be so far gone that this thing's not gonna know what to do. No fault of this. We'll give it a little while, see what happens. I wouldn't be surprised if it automatically kicks over to repair mode. I believe it does all that automatically. But it bounces back between 25%, and then it goes into this blinking where they all blink. Actually, they're solid now. I know it looks like it's blinking on camera, but they're actually all solid now, but it says 100%. That's weird. Well, we're gonna give this a little bit here to figure out what's going on, and see what happens. Well, I did put the test leads on it for the multimeter, and it does appear to be taking the charge. It doesn't mean that when we're done that battery's going to hold the charge for long, but it appears to be taking it. So this hasn't kicked into any other mode, so we're gonna let it go for a while. That battery was really low. Any battery that I've ever come across that was had gotten that low for any period of time is it was pretty detrimental to the battery. So we'll see. Might get lucky with this one, don't know. All right, we're gonna come back over here to the Coachmen. I'll tell you what I've been using this battery for, or that battery charger was for. Some of you know, most of you probably know that, you know, but it was juggling power when I first started my trip. I have since got the solar hooked up to that lithium battery. So, but on my trip, remember I had projects kind of midway, and I just wanted to get my my trip started. I figured I'll come out here and resume some of my projects. So I did finally get that hooked up, but on the way out here, I was running that residential refrigerator off that lithium battery with no input. There was no input from the alternator, there was no input from any internal charger, and there was no input from solar. That battery was just charged, and we ran for two whole days on that. Well, so the battery, so I needed a way to charge it. So what I did was I took that charger, and I robbed, and I also spoke of juggling power. At the time I had 1,000 watts going to the other system, the primary, the lead acid system I still have on board. So I plugged that charger into that inverter. I would steal from that system to put over into the lithium system. So there's a lot of energy loss there. I was turning that solar, you know, making 12 volts, going through that inverter, turning that 12 volts to 110 volts to run the charger, which turned it back into 12 volts over that battery. So each device wants its little slice of the pie. So they were all using some energy, but with 1,000 watts of solar, I had to spare. So, you know, so I charged that. I didn't, you know, I could have fully charged it and went another 2 days, and I had some left over. But I think I just charged it, depending on where we was at and when my driving time was. I should have had that plugged in while I was driving, because then it was getting power from the alternator and solar, and I just didn't want that battery charger running. I had just gotten it, and I thought I want to be sitting and be able to monitor what's going on. So that might have worked out better as far as getting more power sooner, but I had the power to spare. We just did it that way. I plugged it into that and just juggled it on over, and then once we got out here, I was able to kind of get things sorted out and hooked up and running like it should off of solar going to that system now too. So, and that's just a good charger, you know, these days. Like I said, I've always had a battery charger on the garage for various things. Well, this day and age, when it seems like more lithium you know, lithium's been around a little while now, and as times go, probably we'll see more and more of it. It'd probably be a good idea just to have an all-around battery charger, an updated one, get with the time, so to speak, right? So that will charge both lead acid and AGMs and lithiums all. So that kind of makes my other battery charger back at the garage, well, not obsolete, but just not as many functions. Doesn't have the capabilities that the new one does. So it's certainly gonna be a nice one to have around. but it served an immediate purpose on the way out. And so now I'm just finding stuff to do with it. I need a project. I needed a project, didn't I? I was getting bored. All right, that's not gonna work. I think I took the generator out of here. We're gonna go over here and try something different. Sometimes you have to just get rude, just plain out rude with a device. If it doesn't want to play nice, we have other methods. The trouble is that battery is it has the plates. It has an internal short. That's been on quite a while, and it just won't come above 11 volts at best. So the battery is absolutely shot. And as soon as I take the charger off of it, it just falls off back down to where it was at. So it just won't fully charge, let alone even think about holding it. So what we're going to do is overpower it. I'm going to take some jumper cables and hook it up to these big automotive batteries and see what happens. All right, so the fuel's on, it's choked, there's a primer button over here. We're overpowering this battery with them guys up there. We're gonna see if she even wants to try. Even if there's a fuel or carburetor problem, because it's been sitting, the starter should still go.
Oops. We have water down. Water down.
Oh, that's right. That water bowl was on that pedestal thing.
Hold on.
Oops. Oopsie.
Oopsie. Oh. Okay.
Oh, and this pivots.
Yeah.
That was a good place to put that water, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing until you started the generator.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna try prying. Okay, we'll leave the choke off for a second.
Take two.
We don't want to flood it, so we'll leave the choke off for a minute and just. Oh, I don't know if it was. All right, we're gonna go back to choke on. Try this primer ball. I mean, it seemed like there was still some gas in it, and it still smells pretty potent, actually.
Do you want to add some fresh gas?
I might go put a little bit of fresh in. I have a little jug over there.
Okay.
I might give it a splash of fresh gas, and we'll try it some more. We'll give her one more chance here. Okay. That primer doesn't seem like it's. All right. Nothing else there needs to turn on. Eco mode's off. That's all just resetting power stuff. Come on, girl. Choke back on. Yeah, and again, maybe a splash of fuel, a little bit of starting fluid in the carburetor. I'll work at this. Things are getting serious now. I've broke out more tools. This is sometimes what happens when like seasonal equipment. Sometimes like rototillers for gardens will sit. They'll get used a little bit in the spring, then they'll sit all through the summer, the fall, all winter long. You bring them out a year later, the following spring, and they have problems. Same with like snow removal equipment, you know, snow blowers. They don't even get used every winter. Depends where you live. They might skip a winter. So, you know, different machines will sit for periodically, and you have to remember to run them once in a while. Keep them healthy. It'll freshen the battery up. You know, recharge the battery. It flows fresh fuel through the carburetor, and if you do that, like I do my equipment, here's the thing. I know people swear by things like sea foam and fuel stabilizers and that kind of stuff. Believe it or not, with those two, you know, I've had rototillers, snow blowers, gas-powered trimmers, chainsaws, name it. I've had it, or currently have it. I run all my stuff a few times for the, through the year. I've never used any of those products. I call them snake oils. Okay, I just don't. I run all my equipment, whether I need to use it for something or not. I go around, I start everything up periodically, and it stays running good for me. I just don't run into this problem. So yeah, brought my the one tool set out and some other goodies, and took the air cleaner off, and it's I actually got it to spit and sputter a little bit. So that's why I thought I'd turn the camera back on. We are getting fuel to it now. I don't know what the problem was. I did add some. Valve was on, pumped it. It really didn't seem like it was doing anything. But now we definitely have fuel in the bulb. Seeing in the filter, we are getting some now. So, but I may have actually flooded it out a little bit. It tried for a little bit and then it just died before I could get the choke turned back off fully. So I might have to take the spark plug out of it and have a look at that, clean it or something, but I think it's gonna run. Okay, I did do a little off-camera work. I pulled the spark plug out and just sprayed some carburetor cleaner down in it and turned it over a few times just to kind of spit any, if there's any moisture or gas or anything in there. Give it a good, not too much, but a little bit of a shot of that and turn it over, kind of breathe some fresh stuff in there and evaporate anything out of there. And then put the spark plug back in it and tried it. Let's see what happens here. So it did run a little bit, but it does need a little bit of help. It's I think there's probably still dirty carburetor. The carburetor's probably gummed up. So let me see if we can see this. Or can we see this up here? There's a little bit out of screen. Let me adjust this up. I can get it running. Spray a little bit of carburetor cleaner in it and keep it running. And well, actually, maybe I can just do it with the choke now. It was kind of running. It was getting to the point where I was kind of running with just the choke on, and I was able to start taking it off a little bit. No, so it's not at that point yet. So holding the choke the whole way on, it'll stay running. I can actually start backing it off a little bit. I gotta be careful. I think it's almost completely off. I know somebody will say, just run some seafoam through it. And that could help. Actually, that could help a little bit. Or what it really needs is that carburetor taking off and cleaned properly. We're gonna see. Maybe if it warms up and it starts getting some of that fresh gas through it. It might come around on its own. It might. I'm gonna take over this. If I can get this running on its own, and like I said, I put some fresh gas in here. Maybe it finishes burning some of that older gas out of there. That doesn't always burn real well. It gets good and warmed up, get some fresh gas going through it. It might kind of clean up, it might clean out on its own a little bit. We'll see what happens here. We're gonna run it see if we can get to run for a while. All right, let's go back over. Let's go. No, this way. I know. What up, man? You just relax in there. Come on, let's go this way. All right, it's over there running. It's actually running pretty good. So probably been another 15 minutes. I was gonna put more gas in it, but I forgot. I actually only put about a quart of fresh gas in there, which almost filled it up. So there's a lot of gas in there that's at least 1.5 years old. Gasoline actually has a longer shelf life than a lot of people think it does. Yeah, it warmed up to where I turned the economy mode on, so it's a lot quieter. Yeah, until it got kind of running and smooth, cleared itself out, it was running much faster. Like that. Once it seemed like it stabilized, went ahead and put it down into economy mode. And it is still putting out, puts out 14 volts at 59.8 hertz. So it should be good. I think a fresh battery. He's good to go for a while. Alright, yeah, we're gonna find an adapter for this and I'll plug the RV into it. Put this thing under a load for a while. That'd be better yet for it. I think she's gonna be good. Okay, so it is actually working hard now. We went inside and turned things on inside Panda, including the rooftop air conditioner. Once that started, yeah, this ramped up pretty good, but that air conditioner's blowing nice cold air. going around turning things on, the water pump, and yes, the sink works, the toilet works, the shower works. It's kind of fun bringing little Panda back halfway back to life. I'm telling you, I know I could get it running. Give me an hour or two, it'd be running. Throw some wheels on it, we could take her for a little ride. I wouldn't go far, but we could do it. That's it. We're gonna call it mission accomplished. I wrapped up my jumper cables. Gonna put those away. With that battery being shot, that's it. There'll be no more restarting it for now. I'm gonna let that go ahead and run, probably all that fuel out of there, and maybe get a drink of some fresh, 100% fresh fuel. And then I'm gonna take that battery out of there, and I think I was just probably gonna stop and pick up a new one. And well, maybe not right away. I'm gonna take it out and put that glass cover back on it, and she'll have it if she wants to pick up a fresh battery for it. She can at her convenience. But at least it's ready to go back in service. Wait, Bella, did you ever doubt me? Wait, no, we're not going on another trip. No, we're not. Come on. I don't think we'll be taking any more trips in Panda. So we're gonna call that a wrap. Thanks for checking this out, our little project we had today. I'll find something else to get into here pretty soon. Probably back on the Coachmen. That was a purely recreational type thing for me. Did anybody ever doubt me? Thanks. At least I'd like to think most of you said no, not for a second, right? And I appreciate that. So we'll be back soon. I'll see you.